We're now looking at perpendicular lines. So if I have a line whose slope is M1, I'll call it M1, and the other line is M2. We have these two lines, and when they're perpendicular, the product of their slopes, M1 times M2, will be -1. If you multiply the slopes of the two perpendicular lines, you always get -1. If we divide both sides by M2, another way of saying that is M1 is -1 over M2, which means it's the negative reciprocal of the other slope. So another way of thinking of this is that one slope is the negative reciprocal of the other slope. So as an example, we'll look at a possibility. As an example, suppose I tell you you have one slope, let's say it's 2/3, and you have the line perpendicular to that. That slope, if we follow the negative reciprocal, is you switch the 2 and the 3, and it becomes 3/2, and because the slope here was positive, this becomes negative. So that's the relation of the two slopes. Now let's suppose you're asked, as an example given, to write the equation of the line perpendicular to the given line 4x plus 3y is 10, and it passes through the point. We're going to have this line that's perpendicular to this given line pass through the point 2, 4. Oh, what did I do? We like to use the point slope form. We have a point, but we don't have the slope, so we have to do some work to get the slope. We take 4x plus 3y is 10, and what we need is to get this in y equal form, which is slope-intercept form. Then we can read off that slope and then change it to become the perpendicular slope. The first step is we're going to subtract 4x from both sides. And that gives us 3y is -4x plus 10. Now we divide both sides by 3, and I divide each piece by 3. And that tells me that the line that we're perpendicular to is y equals -4/3 x plus 10/3. The line we're given has a slope of -4/3. We're going to write slope, and I put this, that looks like a perpendicular line. The slope of the perpendicular will be, we're going to flip it, that's the reciprocal, and because this original one was negative, ours is positive. So our slope is 3/4. We now have the slope, and we now have a point. So we can use the point slope form to get that answer. Working with this with the point slope form, we know that our equation will be y minus the y value, which is 4, is the slope 3/4 parentheses x minus the x value, which is 2. And from this step, we're going to get it in slope-intercept form, y equals. That's how we'll do our answer. Working through this, I get y minus 4. I distribute the 3/4 through, and I get 3/4 x minus 3/4 times 2 is really 3/2, or 6/4, which is 3/2. And now I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And I'm adding 4. I know 4 is 8/2. And that gives me that equation is 3/4 x, -3/2 plus 8/2 is 5/2. And that's the equation of the perpendicular line.